It's Friday, August 25th, 2023, and this is the Talk Film Society podcast. I am Marcelo Pico, your host of the aforementioned Talk Film Society podcast. Here, as always, talking movies, surprise, surprise, with my co-host, Siobhan Irving. Siobhan, how the hell are you?
How the hell am I? It doesn't matter. We're here to talk about movies. I love movies.
Oh my god, it's movies!
I love blockbuster movies, too.
The blockbusters.
Especially.
Right. We've got to get into it. There's no time to waste here.
We have to get into this.
We've been talking blockbuster movies, summer blockbuster movies, for weeks now.
And we've only got, 2 more weeks to do it, including this one?
Yeah, so it's this week and the next week.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do next week, Marcelo?
You know what? We don't have to think about that right now. We have about 90 minutes.
I really do not want to think about what I'm going to do when this ends.
Do not think about the future right now. Think about the present.
I'm here.
You're here.
I'm present.
You're alive. You're present. All the synapses in your brain are pulsing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that's who we are.
My brain is on fucking fire right now, dude.
Oh, my God. So the reason why we have so much energy is, usually it's just Siobhan and I hosting this show, talking movies and blockbusters this season, but it's a special episode. We have guests. Uh-oh. Guess who's coming to podcast? That's right. They are the hosts of Cinema to the Letter. It's Thomas and Bryan. Hello.
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 Guess who's coming to podcast since the worst social drama you could make right now? Just who's coming to dinner? Who's coming to podcast? Everybody.
Just two dudes walking into podcasting. Here we go. But okay. Thomas, hello. I'm going to talk to you first, just so people know who is who here.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're Thomas. How are you doing, buddy? It's been a while since we've talked. Actually, not that long. I was just a guest on your show,
right.
Cinema to the Letter. So, how have you been, buddy?
I'm doing good right now. I'm in the middle of a deep prep for a trip, which I'll be shamelessly plugging at the end of this episode. But in general, doing fine. We finished our first season, had a lot of fun doing that, and now we're on a bit of our hiatus, and we'll be coming back with episodes shortly, but... Enough of that. What, Bryan?
Yeah,
How's Bryan? Ask him.
Hello.
Get turn to Bryan. Bryan, how's it going? This is your first time on the Talk Film Society podcast. Your first time guesting on the show. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'm very excited and a bit anxious to be here. But
so to put you on the spot, tell me and the listeners and also Siobhan, what's the deal with the Cinema to the Letter? Pitch me this show, Bryan.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we do mini series. It is 6 episodes, right? I'm counting right there, Thomas.
Yes. I can confirm that check. Yes, 6. Yes.
And we just did blockbusters. And we
stepping on our territory. All right, cool.
We'll talk about that in a second, but continue, Bryan.
We're breaking it down. The word cinema by its letter. So we do a classic, an indie, a new, an egregious. Try not to test on my spelling here. A masterpiece. And an atypical movie, we finished up our first season, and it was a lot of fun, especially having you on there, Marcelo.
Oh well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but
everybody loves Marcelo.
Yeah, I'm glad. I got a good catch here. Thank you. It was fun. It was fun having myself on the show. It was fun being there. Now I'm going to turn to Siobhan. How's it going, Siobhan? Now let's backtrack.
I was doing fine for a while.
You're doing fine for a while. Let's go back to was it 2 weeks ago? Was it last week? I forget. Time makes no sense. When was it that we talked about Van Helsing? Was it last episode?
We talked about Van Helsing the week that the last voyage that Demeter took its last voyage.
And at the end of the previous episode,
2 weeks ago, probably.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's right, because we had our 1,000th episode release on the Talk Film Society podcast
Was that
last
the
week.
1,000th episode?
Neil Breen, the Neil Breen
Okay,
episode.
that's a good 1,000th episode.
Yeah, that was 1,000.
That's episode. I can't talk.
A masterful 1,000th episode to have.
Yeah.
you,
Go
Thomas.
back, listeners. Listen to that Neil Breen episode with me and Siobhan breaking down the films of Neil Breen, and including Cade the Tortured Crossing. But the episode before that was Van Helsing, and then the episode before that, at the end of that episode, me and Siobhan were like, what are we going to do for the next episode about vampires and Dracula? And then I said Van Helsing. And this leads us to Cinema to the Letter. Talk Film Society, the website in which I am the CEO, or I guess editor-in-chief of, not CEO. There's no money coming in or going out. We're a poor business. I'm the editor-in-chief of Talk Film Society. We host Cinema to the Letter. It's our sister show. The episodes are on the website. I publish them as soon as Thomas sends me the file that he edited and the description. I post all that. I'm just the middleman here. I should have known that Cinema to the Letter covered Van Helsing, but like a week before, I was like, how about Van Helsing as a topic? But you know what? I'm here to say sorry to Cinema to the Letter, writing your coattails accidentally, just slipped my mind. And also, I want to say this to the listeners: I'm sorry, but you had to listen to at least to like 2 full hours of people talking about Van Helsing.
We give you two weeks of content on Van Helsing.
On Van Helsing. So my bad.
Not something that we should have done. This is a terrible thing.
To be fair, I think that was the first time anyone had talked about Van Helsing in about 20 years, roughly.
So,
it's like that thing where like two rival companies will just happen to be making a Pinocchio movie at the same time.
Exactly.
When they come out.
But that's true. This is the Volcano Dante's Peak
Yes.
kind of conundrum.
So you guys are the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio, and we're the Robert Zemeckis Pinocchio.
Hey.
Oh, don't do that to
You're
yourselves.
at least the Pauly Shore Pinocchio, which also came out that same year.
Yeah, we're that one.
Yeah, we are.
But father, I need to go on the TFS podcast.
All right. So that's that. Just want to cover that up front. Now I'm going to go to Brian. Now, I know, the topic for the last season of your show was blockbusters, yes. And I recommend anybody listening to this go back and listen to that season, those 6 episodes. But for those who don't know, your thoughts on blockbusters, Brian, what are they? Your thoughts on blockbusters overall?
Oh man, well for the ones that we covered on our show, it was a very interesting selection of movies that we did, but it was really interesting. It was a really interesting, especially with Van Helsing, which I had not seen prior to us talking about it, and what a movie, let me tell you. Yeah, it was really exciting to cover blockbusters. I mean, tis the season, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially, as we were doing the show and also going to see the new releases out this summer. It was a really exciting time for just movies in general.
What's been your favorite so far, Brian, of this year of summer blockbusters?
That have come out in theaters?
Sure. Let's stick to theaters, yeah.
Oh, man. I will say my favorite film of probably the year so far is Oppenheimer, if that counts as a summer blockbuster.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely Oppenheimer. That one really, really impacted me on a really, deep level. Yeah, probably that one.
Interesting. We've talked Oppenheimer, or I have. I've seen it too many times already. Siobhan, how many times have you seen Oppenheimer now?
I famously have not been to the theaters this summer. Tell me, what's your favorite blockbuster of the year so far? Of the summer, not the year.
Just a hard pivot from Siobhan. Okay.
I don't give a shit about before April.
Right. I mean, if we're going to talk about like a movie I saw in theaters this summer, I would count the super mega blockbuster Past Lives from A24. But if we're not counting that, I would say probably like the bigger blockbusters. It was right at the start. I think Guardians Volume 3 is still like just the perfect
inspired choice.
Like, I think so. Yeah, I think it just does such a great job, and especially it felt so good to feel anything during like a Marvel movie again. It's been a long time since I felt anything that wasn't at least extremely negative with like Thor: Love and Thunder. Like but everything else just been kind of like a blasé, like it's a paste, it's whatever.
I know exactly how you're feeling. Like when I was watching this, I was like, damn, this is how good these movies were at a time, or like can be when they're at their best. What a nice reminder to send them off.
Yes, I agree. Guardians 3 was the rare now exception of like, oh, I remember this feeling of watching a very good superhero movie. By the way, Blue Beetle. Have any of you seen Blue Beetle?
No.
Okay.
No.
I am surprised to learn that it might be good. I have not seen it yet. So
I've been saying that. I've been saying that every week on the show.
I know, Siobhan.
It comes up, and like it's a joke that, of course, it's going to fail at the box office. But like I've been saying, I think it will be a good movie. And look who's right.
I listen,
according
Siobhan,
to Rotten Tomatoes or whatever.
I wanted to maybe talk about this later, but we're talking about it now. I'm afraid you might have been right this whole time, Siobhan, because if I go out and see it this week, next episode you're going to hear me eating crow for the full episode.
I accept your apology.
I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. To be continued. This is a cliffhanger for the season finale.
It's okay.
Next
it's
week.
okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Don't worry about it. Come on. All right. So that's blockbusters. I think we. Oh wait, yeah. Thomas, Guardians 3, Brian, Oppenheimer. I mean, Siobhan, you've seen some at home now. Okay, we're not there yet, but I mean, your current favorite summer blockbuster.
Was Fast
movie?
X in the summer?
It was, yeah, because that was May.
Okay, you know what? I did go out to that in the theater.
Yeah, so there you go.
So I'm a liar. Yeah. So I guess that's the best theater one. And best at home one was when I rewatched Fast X.
Perfect. Okay, so
you know what? Special shout out to a summer blockbuster that I do not believe played in theaters, but is absolutely along those lines. I want to say you should watch Extraction 2 on Netflix.
Interesting.
Super cool, fun action movie.
Okay, I've heard from people, including you, Siobhan, that movie is also good, but what if I haven't seen it and I have no interest in Extraction 1?
Extraction 1 is good. I think Extraction 2 is very good.
Can I just skip to Extraction 2?
Sure, why not? He's a guy that is like supposed to be protecting a kid. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Sure, you know what? If worst comes to worst, I'll watch Extraction 2. And again, I'll report
back.
That's
the worst thing you can imagine.
This is gun to my head. I have to watch a movie. That'll be the worst one I watch. No. It's on my list. Okay, I'm not going to make any promises, but along with Blue Beetle, it's now on my list of things to watch and of things to go back to Siobhan and apologize for. So it's on the list. Okay.
I don't know why I need an apology for that one, but I appreciate it.
The news. Here's our next segment of the show. Now, this, Thomas and Brian, this is where I turn to Siobhan and I go, Siobhan, what's in the news?
Fuck, god damn it. I was just listening to a last week's episode and thinking, okay, I should actually pull up news this time.
You're a shoo-in for that anchor job that you applied.
Deadline.com. Let's see here.
And now we just wait for the news.
Here. Good Burger 2 teaser trailer has arrived.
Nice. Okay, quick thoughts. Brian, your thoughts on Good Burger 2.
For all the 90s kids out there.
Oh man, I think I'm
He's
the
not
wrong
the one
person to ask here. I believe the youngest one here.
Brian, is it rude for me to ask how old you are?
I am 25 years old.
I got 2 years on you.
I remember seeing Good Burger like a bit when I was a kid, but like it's very hazy in my mind.
Oh, here we go. This is better.
Wait,
Richmond. Sorry. What's that?
I want to hear Thomas's opinion. On
Thomas, Good Burger
too. Yeah.
I mean, I saw Good Burger in a theater. I very clearly remember I saw, like, because I was a little kid at that time, I'd watched all that, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait. And it's definitely a movie that I saw as a kid, and I saw multiple times over. I met Kenan Thompson once while I was working at a theater. I gave him popcorn.
Was he nice in that one?
He seemed, very nice. Okay. Like a nice dude there with his kids.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's great. Okay. Siobhan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so this news is pretty great. So Richmond, North of Richmond, that song that we all love, it makes its Hot 100 history with number one debut.
Stop it.
Do you guys want to talk about that song?
No.
We've been listening to it over and over.
Moving on. No. I veto this. It's not news.
The fat people eating French pies or whatever. They suck. Like, it's such a good song.
All right, let's move on. Cinema Day, National Cinema Day. That's the news I'm bringing to the table. I'm excited about this.
Oh, yeah. I love to celebrate cinema in any way I
can. For those who don't know, Cinema Day, National Cinema Day, I'm sorry. National Cinema Day first started last year as a gambit to get more people into the theater. It worked last year. I just learned earlier that Cinema Day last year was the highest attended in theaters for that full year. So they're going to do it again this Sunday, August 27th, a few days after this drops. So, I mean, let's go around the table. I want to hear your guys' excitement on this. So let's go to Siobhan first. Siobhan, how excited are you for Cinema Day?
I am so stoked, dude. Let me tell you, if I were to go out for this, let me just go ahead and look at the website of the Cinemark closest to me and tell you what I would go to.
All right,
so my options are Blue Beetle, Strays, hi everybody, Strays, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, Meg 2 The Trench, Metallica M72 World Tour Live from Texas #2. I'm going to guess that's ineligible. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Haunted Mansion is still there. What are you fucking talking about? Talk to me. Jailer, which is a Tamil film. Mission Impossible is still there, I guess. And The Wind Rises 10th anniversary. Probably also ineligible. I would go...
Yeah, let's hear which one Siobhan chooses.
Which one would
Siobhan?
I go to?
Yeah, which one?
It would be such a funny bit if the movie I went to was Blue Beetle, wouldn't it?
No. And then you'll come out thinking it was a good movie, and then you'll be right all along, and then I'll owe you an extra apology.
So I'm basically deciding, would I rather see Barbie or Oppenheimer in a theater? And I feel like Oppenheimer's going to get more out of the bigger screen than I hate to say it, than Barbie would, even though I'd probably have more fun doing the dress-up thing with Barbie. So it's a coin flip, but I think I lean Oppenheimer. So I'm not going to go to Oppenheimer in a couple days.
No, I want you to report back, Siobhan, next time we record, next episode.
All right.
Your Cinema Day experience. So get that report ready. All right. Thomas, your thoughts? National Cinema Day. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
A respectful 5,
okay.
Just because it doesn't quite apply to me. Just because I have
a lot of money, right?
The AMC Stubs thing. Whatever. I burn $5 bills to light my cigars every day, so it doesn't really matter to me. But I mean, I don't know. I think I'm all for like anything to like keep theaters going at this point, especially when we have just gone through the Barbenheimer thing, but now studios are being dumb about pulling their movies that are, I don't know, might continue movie going. Like, September is such a dead zone. Like, there's not a lot that I think is going to make any fucking money until we get to probably, like, Saw X, maybe. And even then, I don't know. So I'm good with that happening. And if I were to, like, say, recommend something for Cinema Day, at my local theater, they're doing apparently a 30th anniversary screening of Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
And the real 3D. and Beauty and the Beast is also playing, and American Graffiti. So yeah, I'd probably go to one of those instead of one of the like dregs of summer movies I have not seen, or seeing some of the other things I've already seen again.
All right, fair enough. Brian, same question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for National Cinema Day?
I'll say like a 6 out of 10. Same as Thomas. It doesn't really apply to me. I have the A-list. I will say that I would go see American Graffiti. That is like what I would go see. But I guess if I'm picking a movie that's out in theaters right now, as much as I've heard bad things about it, I kind of want to go see the Meg 2. I would go see that.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Brian.
I've heard so many bad things, but I got to see it for myself to really figure it out.
Dig into the trench. Gotta go in the trenches with Meg 2.
I gotta go in the trench. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Okay, I have not seen the Meg 2 yet. I think I said on this show I'd go see it, and also I was gonna go see Mutant Mayhem.
That's the opposite of what you said, actually. Having just listened to the episode, you said since you already missed it the first week, you're not going to see it.
Oh, thank you for the reminder, Siobhan. Siobhan is our archivist here.
But it is National Cinema Day, Marcelo, and I must ask you, how excited are you for National Cinema Day?
I'm at a full-blown 8, my friend.
Wow.
The thing that does genuinely excite me is just people going to see movies. Even if it's people who don't go out to see movies normally, people going out to see movies, it's exciting to me. It doesn't seem to be exciting for any of you, but that's fine.
No, it's awesome.
All right, so that's National Cinema Day. That was in the news. Thomas, Brian, do you guys have any news to talk about?
Go people on strike.
Oh, that's right.
Hope you all get paid fairly.
We are pro-union here on the podcast. Got to bring that up every week. Brian, are you pro-union?
Absolutely. Hell yes. Pay the writers already. God damn it.
There was a way that would have gone that would have maybe made the end of our podcast. It's like, no, fuck them. Who cares? They don't need to get paid.
Well, actually, guys, AI can it's got some good ideas.
Oh no, I made such a mistake.
And with that, we close out the news portion of the show. Now for the next segment, Siobhan, I think you know what it is.
Hey, what? Who are you? What is it that you have?
What is it that you have been watching
over there? What is it that you've been watching over there?
What is it that you've been watching over there? This is the segment where we talk about what is it that we've been watching over there. Brian, other than the movies. I should have mentioned that at the top. Fuck, what am I doing hosting a podcast for? Hey, here's a tease for later on. We're going to be talking about Gran Turismo in general. Some of us have seen it. Some of us haven't. And then we'll talk about the genre of racing movies, and also we're going to talk about the genre of, teen sex comedies, because Bottoms is also coming out this week. So Gran Turismo, Bottoms, general discussion on those, blockbusters of the summer. And that's in the bits. But for now, we're going to ask, what is it that you've been watching over there? Brian, let's go to you. See anything good?
Oh, man. Well, I'm trying to pick what is the best movie I've seen. Well, the best movie I've seen, I think, in the past couple weeks is I watched the original Taking of Pelham 123, the 1974 film. As I've been, this somewhat relates to what we'll talk about, I guess, in a bit. But I've been going through the filmography of Tony Scott, watching a lot of his movies for the first time. But I wanted to watch the original Taking of Pelham 123, and absolutely loved it. Absolutely fantastic movie. Just perfect, tight thriller. Loved it. Trains are cool. I love trains.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Walter Matthau possibly the coolest a man has looked on a movie screen ever. I think. I don't know. Do you guys like this movie?
I've seen it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I remember liking it a lot. I need to revisit it. Siobhan, have you seen this?
I have not seen the original. I've seen Tony's a few times, and I want to ask how you feel about that one, because to me it's like it's a more middling Tony Scott movie. Like it's got some great stuff about it, but overall it just doesn't totally work for me.
I like the Tony Scott movie. It is like
you like it, right?
I like it, but I don't love it. I would say it is kind of a more. It's not as good. It's definitely not as good as the original. It's definitely not as good as any of the other movies that Tony Scott directed in the 2000s.
Right.
But I like it. I like the it's a very different movie than the original. But I think ultimately that's as a remake. I think that's kind of interesting, and Tony Scott could just direct the hell out of any scene and just make it look so interesting.
For sure.
And Denzel, he's the greatest.
I think what's interesting about Denzel also in that movie is I love the original movie first off, and I think the remake is definitely lesser. It's not one of my favorites. It's probably my least favorite Scott movie, and it still is like interesting. But the most interesting thing about it is I think that's the first time Denzel ever felt like his age. Really? Because that's the first time I can remember him actually playing a dude who's like, oh, I'm slumped over this desk, and I eat a lot of donuts, and all this other stuff. And I love the fact that right after that movie, he's kind of just embraced that. It's kind of like when Russell Crowe got fat for one movie, and then he was just like, this is me now. And I think I kind of love that about Denzel. Just like, I'm an old man now. I'm cool. I'm cooler than you'll ever be. But I'm like, I don't know.
Still the Equalizer.
And even the Equalizer, I would argue that's kind of the charm to me of him in those movies.
That's what I'm saying.
He's unassuming.
He's not letting himself go, but he's just being like, yeah, I'm an old man, but I'm still the Equalizer.
I'm still gonna fuck you up, kid, if you cross me. Yeah.
How about you, Thomas? What is it they've been watching over there? Anything good?
I mean, you all follow me on Letterboxd. It's a disaster. I just watch too much shit. But I'm gonna mention two things because it kind of ties in with the topic that we're doing. Because I wanted to watch another racing movie and another sex comedy that I hadn't seen. I'll just start with the sex comedy. It's The To-Do List, which stars Aubrey Plaza. Came out in 2013.
I like that
directed
movie.
by Maggie Carey. Who was at the time married to Bill Hader, who's also in this, and a bunch of other people, great people of that era. And it's one of the few Donald Glover movie appearances. Andy Samberg shows up. A lot of funny people. It's not I think a great movie, but I think it's a really fun kind of, especially entry level sex comedy for a teen, I would say. Where if you don't know, the premise of it is Aubrey Plaza is the valedictorian who everyone keeps making fun of for being a virgin. So she commits herself to, before going to college, doing a to-do list of various different sexual acts. And I think it's very, it treats the subject matter with a lot of aloof, casual fun. But at the same time, it feels really investing, you really believe in Plaza and her whole arc. And I love her friends, Leah Shawkat, and this other actress I forgot who's in a bunch of Nicole Hofstetler movies. But I think that's a fun one I'd recommend to people. And then the racing movie I watched was Viva Las Vegas, the Elvis Presley movie, which I had heard was a racing movie. And I'll just tell you straight up, racing's in the last 10 minutes of it. It's mostly, shockingly, a lot of singing and dancing involving Elvis Presley. But I'll say this, this is the first Elvis movie I've seen, so it is just kind of weird seeing just Elvis in a narrative structure. Just because, anytime I've seen Elvis before, it's either documentary footage or parodies. So it's just bizarre seeing him just as an actual person caught on film. But it's, him and Anne Margaret have a sort of back and forth with each other. They're both pretty stellar in it, and it's just a real snapshot of 60s Vegas, because they shot in Vegas and there's just so much footage of the Strip and everything, pretty much the era right before Fear and Loathing just kind of completely destroyed that concept. of what like Vegas was, but like the kind of like Rat Pack era. It's a better one than say Ocean's 11, the original, which is a terribly boring movie. As opposed to Viva Las Vegas is kind of fun, and even when the car crashes happen, when the chase happens, the racing, there are genuinely great like explosions of like cars like bursting into flame and shit. That's like from '64. So I'd recommend, that one's on the Criterion Channel, and I know Hoopla I think has the to-do list currently. But yeah.
Got me there. I haven't seen either of those movies. Siobhan, have you seen?
I co-signed the to-do list. I think that's a very fun movie.
Oh, okay. I'll put that on the list. My to-do list. Next to blowjobs. Okay, so Siobhan, how about you? What is it that you've been watching over there?
Yes. Over here, I've been trying to get myself out of a funk, and the way I do that is by watching a bunch of horror movies. Seen a couple slashers. This one's arguably a slasher, I guess. Alexandra Aja's Mirrors, but I think it's better than its reputation. And I saw Hellfest from a few years ago, which I think is a really fun, like haunted amusement park slasher, like Halloween night. So whatever. Doesn't matter. And then I'm particularly wanting to watch a bunch of found footage movies. And I am making my way through the Wreck series, which I've never seen.
Ooh.
What are they? Are they Portuguese or Spanish? I'm not sure.
That's a good question. I just saw the first one in theaters not too long ago. I think they're playing the second one here in town. Yeah.
How'd that play with the crowd?
Pretty good. I'd seen it before, long ago. Like, I think I rented it from Netflix when they were doing the DVD thing still back then. Then I just forgot a lot about it, and then watching it again, seemingly anew with a crowd, that was pretty damn cool. I'm excited to see the second one because I hear that one's also pretty good.
Second one's really cool, and I would almost recommend rewatching the first one right before you watch the second one, because a lot of that will pay off for you even better.
Oh, okay.
And I'm currently in the middle of the third one. I got interrupted watching it earlier, but so far it seems cool. But it's like a totally different direction, which is really interesting so far. And then the last one I'll recommend here, little Japanese horror movie called Ganjam, The Haunted Asylum. Gonjam, Haunted Asylum. You can find it for free on YouTube, like officially for free. It's not just uploaded there. And it's cool. It's really cool. It's like a group of like 8 ghost hunter kind of people who hobbyists who go around like going to see like Aokigahara and the other haunted places of the earth or whatever. And they go to this haunted asylum to try to break into room 402, where there's supposed to be such terrible horrors in there that nobody's ever seen. And it's a really creative found footage ghost horror movie. It's got some decent scares, and the characters are really fun, like really fun to follow. Highly recommend it.
What is your favorite found footage movie, Siobhan?
I mean, I'll be basic as fuck and say Blair Witch Project, but I can go a little slightly different and say As Above, So Below. I really dig that movie. You seen that one? Anybody?
I have not seen it, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anybody else? As Above, So Below?
Is that the one in the the French catacombs?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I've never seen it, but I was kind of curious when it was coming out.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah, I saw it as well. I don't remember being a huge fan of that, but at the same time, I saw it in the middle of when I was doing horror podcasting, and I was so fucking sick of found footage movies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if I liked it a lot more, like, revisiting it. Because I remember at least that one having interesting stuff, particularly when they get to, like, the catacombs. There's a lot of fun, spooky thrills there, yeah.
I solicited Tommy on Twitter already, so I don't need his answer. But Marcelo and Brian, do you guys have a found footage recommendation for me?
Oh man, I don't think I'm equipped for that. I'm very basic. Like I love the Blair Witch Project. It's one of my favorite movies. Listen to our episode on it now.
Good job plugging.
Thank you. But I admittedly haven't seen that many of them because I was very scared as a kid of like horror movies, and so I avoided found footage ones because they were like extra scary because they were like
those ones are real.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would want to know some more recommendations as well because I'd like to see more of them.
Okay, well, one that's not too scary. Spree, starring the Stranger Things kid, Joe Keery. That one, he's like an Uber driver who's like trying to get viral hits or whatever by killing people.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense, but it's a fun movie. It's not scary in any way. It's just fun. Okay. Marcelo, found footage, anything?
I don't know. You put me in the spot.
Awesome.
I ask the questions here. I don't answer the questions.
All right, so what is it that you have been watching? Can I ask you that question?
No. I'm going to not say my favorite, because I may also be a poser and just say...
Oh, you know what? My favorite, Poughkeepsie Tapes. Poughkeepsie Tapes. That one fucked me up really hard.
I haven't seen that one. I do like The Sacrament a lot. I want to make that recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so fascinated by that story. It's not based on the Jonestown massacres, right? It's just inspired by.
It's not based on it. It's
right. Even though they have the main cult leader guy played by an actor named Gene Jones, it's not. No, right. There's no connection whatsoever.
It's essentially, it's the Jonestown massacre. I find that real life incident highly intriguing, very haunting, and to see it played out, in a narrative like that, directed by Ty West. That may be my favorite Ty West movie, is The Sacrament. So that's my recommendation. I don't know what my favorite is.
I'd love to imagine what would I have done if I were there.
I would have got them all out.
You're the Mark Wahlberg of Jonestown.
I would have got them all out. It
wouldn't have gone down like that.
It would not have gone down like that, absolutely. Siobhan, you were asking me a question before I rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, what is it that you have been watching over there, Marcelo?
I saw Oldboy over the weekend. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Now, for the topic of... Okay, yeah, I saw Oldboy. Neon re-released it in honor of its 20th anniversary, the new 4K restoration, and I haven't seen it in 10 years. I was hesitant about watching it again, because I feel like I've seen it once. Maybe that's enough. And I can say right now I've seen it, and I think 10 years is enough for me. I'll wait another 10 years before I see this again. I think it is a masterpiece. I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. But it is brutal. It's a hell of a movie. And to think that this came out the same year as like Kill Bill Volume 1, and for the longest time, I'm like, yeah, Kill Bill Volume 1, that's my favorite revenge movie of 2003. Now I think it's Oldboy. It's that good. And I do love Kill Bill Volume 1, but man, Oldboy, it holds up. It is what it is. It is that classic that everybody talks about. So if it's playing near you, if you're near in a theater that's still playing Oldboy, go see it. Hell of a thing. If you've seen it before, or if it's the first time you're watching it, go see it. And I don't know.
Marcelo would recommend that for like the big cinema Sunday.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, especially with the family.
Take your family to go see.
Bring your daughter. Bring everybody.
Yeah. 100%. But I do like that Park Chan-wook. Maybe this happens at all the screenings, but at my screening, there's a little video intro of him basically giving. Partially like, yes, like, welcome to my movie, yes, this is it, and also a warning of like, hey, by the way, this has extreme sex, extreme violence, and if you're a fan of octopi, this might not be the movie for you. He says that, so that's pretty funny. But that's also my warning. If you like octopi, turn away. Go see something.
The only being that would be offended by that film.
Exactly.
Your octopi. Truly.
Yes, but I saw Oldboy. Siobhan, I know you love Oldboy, right?
I love Oldboy, of course.
Yeah. Okay, just want to get that on the record. Thomas, Oldboy fan, yeah?
I did revisit it recently because I've been going through the Park Chan-wooks. I still think it's pretty great. I would say some other ones have gone above. I would prefer like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance or Lady Vengeance Or especially the one I discovered that I just fucking loved, Thirst. Thirst fucking
Thirst
rules.
is good.
If you haven't seen that, that movie rules. But yeah.
How about you, Brian? Thoughts on Oldboy and also the work of Park Chan-wook?
Oh man, I have not seen Oldboy since I saw it in high school when I was sort of. I feel like that's a lot of like, it's like an entry level into like world cinema.
Yeah,
I have not revisited it since. But I have watched all of Park Chan-wook's other films, and I absolutely love them. I think he is one of the best filmmakers working today. My favorite, honestly, was probably Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. Everything about it just really clicked for me. Yeah, he rules. But I would love to see Oldboy again. Especially, I would love to see it in a theater. But I don't know.
Hopefully, it just means I know like Neon's going to put out like a physical version of it, right? Because it's not available that much in the US. So
I'm sure it'll get a Criterion release because Neon and Criterion do work together.
That's true.
Yeah,
Right.
they're releasing that Bowie documentary that I wasn't fond of. What was it called? Moon Age Daydream. Yeah, that's a Neon release and a Criterion title now. I don't know why I did a commentary there. I mean, I didn't need to say I didn't like it, but more power to that documentary and its fans.
Yeah, I love that movie. Hot take. Versus Marcel. I think that movie's amazing. But okay.
All right.
We'll go with that.
Moving on. All right. That is what we've been watching here. Siobhan, how you doing? Check in on Siobhan. How's it going over there, buddy?
I'm great.
We do this every episode. We
Third
check
course.
in on Siobhan.
We go to our third course now.
We go to exactly. This is the meat of the episode.
The meat of the episode. Yeah, we just ate everything around the meat. Our hamburger bun and our pickle, tomato. We licked the mustard off. Now we get to eat the meat.
Now it's the meat. Now, in honor of the releases of this weekend, Bottoms and Gran Turismo. Siobhan and I...
Based on a true story.
Yeah, sorry. Gran Turismo based on a true story. Last week at the end of the episode, Siobhan and I were like, what are we going to do this week? And I was like, how about... What's the movie? What are the movies coming out? We got to see something. Come on. So, for Gran Turismo, Days of Thunder came up. That was, I think, my suggestion. I forced it on Siobhan. But Siobhan's like, another, dude thing. How about...
I did not. No, I did not.
Wait, are there two Siobhans in the room? I can't believe it.
All right, listen. But Siobhan made a good point. It's like, also Bottoms is coming out in limited release. It would be fun to, talk about not just a racing movie and something else. How about like a teen sex comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided to mash them up.
Yeah, let's mash them up. That's right, folks. It's Days of Thunder. We watched that. And also American Pie. 2 summer blockbusters.
The Venn diagram between these two movies, I guess, would be risky business, wouldn't it? So maybe we should have done that and hit both.
Oh, shit, that would have been good, actually. Hold on. When did Risky Business come out? Let's see. Is that a summer movie? I'm going to Google that right now.
It doesn't matter. We watched Days of Thunder in honor of Gran Turismo, based on a true story from gamer to racer.
Fuck. Listen, Risky Business came out August 5th, 1983. An August summer movie. That would have been perfect. It's like last week when we figured out Scooby-Doo would have been a good movie to talk about on the previous episode.
An American Pie we did for Bottoms because it's a classic teen sex comedy. The classic teen sex comedy.
The classic teen sex comedy?
The most infamous, right?
You're showing your cards. You're showing your cards.
No. That has nothing to do with quality.
We're going to get to that in a second. That's it. We're already diving into the conversation. But what I want to know is, Thomas, Brian, did you both see American Pie and Days of Thunder?
I did rewatch American Pie and prep for this. I have seen Days of Thunder before, but I didn't have enough time to fit it in for a rewatch. But I just watched it like last year for like the lead up to Top Gun Maverick, so it's fairly fresh in my head.
Brian, what about you?
I did watch American Pie earlier today, which I had seen bits and pieces of throughout my like childhood of like seeing it on TV when it comes on. And then I watched Days of Thunder a few weeks ago. As I said, I was going through Tony Scott's filmography, so I watched it a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's still kind of fresh in my mind a bit.
Why don't we talk about American Pie first? So let's do a general thing. And Siobhan, now is your time to shine. Okay, now it's time for you to say,
Great.
Do you think American Pie is the shining example of a teen sex comedy? Right? We're talking teen sex comedies in honor of Bottoms. Overall, teen sex comedies. Your thoughts, Siobhan? American Pie, the best? Question mark.
I think it deserves its reputation still. I'm going to be honest, on this rewatch, I did not have the best time. I was just kind of, like, as I was watching it, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like, this is good. But I did not, like, find myself laughing super hard. But, like, it does, like, I don't know, like, what else came before this? Like Last American Virgin, Revenge of the Nerds, Animal House. I don't fucking know. I haven't seen any of that shit.
Someone is forgetting the Porky's trilogy. Masterful
The
films.
Porky's. I actually have seen Porky's 1. Yeah, it's good. It's a great movie. I think the characters are very likable and lovable, and you know, Stifler drinks cum. It's cool.
That's your review, isn't it? I think
that
actually,
was my review. Yeah.
It is your review on Letterboxd. Yeah, you
Stifler
just said
drinks
that.
cum.
Yeah, we're not joking. That was the review. Go look it up. So okay, hey, listen. I have
Sean William Scott, star of Southland Tales.
Drinks cum.
Oh, have you seen this? They're doing fucking commercials right now with Sean William Scott and Jason Biggs. Basically,
wait, what?
Yes, they're doing commercials for
I've
like
seen this
DoorDash
as well.
or
Yes.
TaskRabbit or something like that, or Uber Eats maybe, where Jason Biggs gets a delivery and then Stifler's like right behind the delivery guy, and he shows up and is like, "Hey man, remember all these great parties we had?" And Jason Biggs is trying to like, "Oh yeah, sure. Hey, what are you doing here?" And then he invites himself in. And so, like, they're not playing Stifler and whatever Jason Biggs' character name is, but that's what they're basically going for.
Isn't it Jim?
Yeah, it's
right?
Jim.
Jim.
You win 5
Jimbo.
points, Thomas. Now, those 5 points you can use later on this episode, but you got those 5 points right now, so keep those in your back pocket.
Gotcha.
Now, that's interesting. I guess I'll give my quick thoughts about American Pie. I liked it watching it for this episode. It's fine. I've seen it before. I think like maybe 2 or 3 years after it came out on DVD. But watching it now, I'm like, in the genre of teen sex comedies, this, in my personal opinion, ranks low. I think culturally, sure, like Siobhan is saying, it's
culturally,
high up
that's
there.
what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, you know what?
significant.
Fair. But I'm also like, it doesn't need to be put on a pedestal. I don't think it's that great.
When I had just watched Sex Drive by happenstance like a week or two ago, and I was laughing super hard watching Sex Drive. And then when I was watching American Pie, I was kind of shocked at how stone-faced I was through it.
I just rewatched Superbad not too long ago. I think that's a perfect movie for what it is. Like, that to me is a superior teen sex comedy. But anyway, you know, we'll get more into American Pie. We'll get right deep in that pie here in a bit. But I want to hear Thomas's thoughts on the teen sex comedies. Any favorites? Any favorites that you can think of?
I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite genre. I think a lot of those, I've just, like, ones that I remember liking are ones I dread revisiting. Like, I liked Animal House the last time I saw it. I dread ever revisiting that for a number of reasons, quite frankly. But, I mean, I would say, like, American Pie is, at the very least, like, a curious kind of stepping stone. I remember, actually, the first time I saw any bit of American Pie was summer 1999. I was a child, and my dad was taking me and my sisters to see Wild Wild West, and we walked into the wrong theater. and we saw at least the first 2 to 3 minutes of American Pie before we were ejected out to see, of course, a much better film for children, Wild Wild West. That has nothing problematic about it. But yeah, I think American Pie is like just kind of like it feels almost like, because the big thing is this is the directorial debut of Chris and Paul Weitz, and I feel like those two tend to make like much more introspective, character-driven movies. As they've done like after this, and this kind of feels like they're struggling between a script that they had that was super raunchy and vile, and then them trying to like inject a bit more of the humanity into it. And I feel like that's kind of there. I think the weirdest thing is the supporting cast, I think, saves this movie. Like Sean William Scott's great, Eugene Levy, like you can't not go wrong really with Eugene Levy. Natasha Lyonne's funny, like Jennifer Coolidge, obviously. But I think the main core 4 guys aren't that interesting either as characters or performers. Aside, like Chris Klein's fine. Like I think he's like a fun kind of himbo type. I would say he's the best of the main 4. Yeah, easily. But then again, I would also say the other thing about this is I really hate Jason Biggs. I've never found him funny. I think he's an annoying little pissant, especially in this movie, where he's being like so aggressively dickish at every turn to everyone, and especially like, you're gonna like really be that down on 1999 era Allison Hannigan, dude? Fuck off. Fuck right off, dude. Not a fun guy. But still, I think there's more laughs than not in American Pie. But I'm really curious about Brian, who is from a very different perspective.
Yeah, teen sex comedies, Brian. Now, my question to you, when did you have sex first? No, I'm joking. Brian, teen sex comedies, your thoughts. And also American Pie, let's get into your thoughts on that. Come on.
Yeah, I
Hurry up!
Right.
I grew up with American Pie, and like I had never seen the full thing. I had seen like definitely the first like 20 minutes or so, and it was one of those movies growing up where I just figured it was the like most raunchy, like disgusting thing that had ever existed. And watching it in prep for this, I was like, oh no, this is just a very it's kind of sweet and kind of nice in some ways. And I was really surprised at how much I actually really liked the movie. And like you said, Thomas, like the characters are handled really well, and I think the human side of things is more interesting to me than any of the comedy stuff, and some of it has aged quite poorly. Yeah, I will say I really do like Chris Klein in the movie. I think he's the best of the 4. He's so funny, and he's so cute. I love him. He's great. But as far as teen sex comedies in general go, I will say I do love Superbad, but I haven't seen it in quite a while. I've been meaning to rewatch it, but I just haven't had the time. But one that recently I thought of was Blockers, which I absolutely loved, and I think is is a great movie and has a great cast as well, and some really, really funny bits. And Blockers might be like up there for me in terms of the teen sex comedy genre, because I don't know why, but I think about that movie all the time, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. And I don't know, John Cena should have won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that movie, I think.
100%, I agree.
It
would have been a retroactive Oscar for him announcing the death of Osama bin Laden at the end of that pay-per-view. Siobhan, you were saying?
It feels like we're moving on from this, are we?
No, listen, I want to dig a little deeper into this movie.
I just want to say this movie's most lasting cultural legacy is, of course...
MILF.
Yes, John Cho inventing the word
Yes. MILF. I wanted to bring that up. That was in my notes. Yeah, I was surprised, shocked even, by some of the people who were in this, that I forgot were in this, like John Cho, like Casey Affleck. I had a similar reaction.
Casey Affleck, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, I had a similar reaction seeing Casey Affleck in this than, similar to, I had a similar feeling watching him appear in this as when he appeared in Oppenheimer. All of a sudden, they go, "Oh shit, it's Casey Affleck!"
It felt like a cameo, but like, how big was he then? Like, he'd done Good Will Hunting, I guess, but as a very small side character. This is 2001, right?
On Wikipedia, on the American Pie page, he is listed under cameos for American Pie. So at this point, he was already in Chasing Amy. He was in Good Will Hunting, like you said, Siobhan. And the same year this came out, he was in 200 Cigarettes. So he's.
But this felt like a cameo, didn't it?
Yeah. I would 100% believe that they wanted Ben, and then Ben was like, I'm going through a tunnel, I can't come. Why'd you get Casey? And then they got Casey. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so...
Do you guys remember finding that book when you were in high school, though?
We
all had that book, right?
Yes, the book that every high school has. That's true. Designated. Everyone is the keeper of the book to some degree.
Well, I guess we should go into the plot synopsis of this, right? We should have said that at the top. So, it's these three dudes in high school who are trying to get laid by the end of the school year. That's the premise. Like a lot of other teen sex comedies. And one of these dudes just so happens to, be told, hey, there's a book in the library hidden underneath the shelves where it says, it's like how to give a woman an orgasm. That's a plot line in this movie. A dumb plot line in this movie. Listen, a lot of this does not work for me. I like it. I think, again, I say culturally, and I think, yes, it made an impact. Yes. I do like most of these characters, I think. Most of these actresses. I love seeing, like Natasha Lyonne, Mina Suvari, Eugene Levy, Allison Hannigan. I'm also in agreement with Thomas. I'm pretty sure I hate Jason Biggs' face. Don't like the guy.
Yeah, good. Fuck that guy.
I'm split on Chris Klein.
You're split on Chris Klein? Marcelo, don't break my heart. Klein.
I'm sorry.
Oh, have you seen American Dreams? Dreams with a Z?
No.
Have you seen Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li?
Okay, I have seen that. Street Fighter movie. So.
He is amazing in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, honestly. That's the only reason to watch that movie.
I think he should have had a better career than he had.
Yeah.
But I think he's such a likable guy.
But my favorite is Sean William Scott. I kind of wish he had been the lead in this movie. I don't know. I always find him interesting as an actor, even when he's playing an asshole. He's hilarious to me.
Sorry, who? Which one?
Sean William Scott.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. What? All right.
No, yes, absolutely. You're right.
It seemed like you were scoffing at my choice, Siobhan, which is impossible.
No, sorry. I did not intend to. It did sound like that, though.
Yeah, it did sound like that.
Oh, Chris Klein from fucking Election. Have you seen Election, dude?
I have seen Election. I have no memory of him in Election. I'm sorry.
You have no memory of him in Election? He's like the second lead.
Marcelo, I'm with you. I don't remember him in Election either.
Oh, Brian.
God.
Oh, we're split.
Yeah.
we're very much
dear
split.
God.
Let's switch co-hosts.
Oh, boy.
Okay, listen. I'm split on Chris Klein. I'll say again, but I'm open to seeing him in. I'm open to seeing him in other things and proving me wrong and pushing it more towards the positive. I don't hate the guy, like Jason Biggs. I fucking hate Jason Biggs so much. Chris Klein, though, listen, I can be convinced, but this movie does not do it for me. Right in the middle with him. But yeah, I mean, and what frustrates me about this is also it just ends without, like, they seemingly tie up the loose ends, but it's just so flat. It ends with Jason Biggs dancing in front of a webcam, where Shannon Elizabeth's character's watching, and her character's treated like shit. Which
are you saying that whole sequence in which they have a webcam on to film a woman while she's alone in private isn't a great thing that holds up very well? No. I'm very shocked by that. Truly
terrible. I know the movie tries to, play it both ways and go, hey, Jason Biggs' character also, is seen on camera, and he's mocked and ridiculed after that. But her character apparently forgives him at the very end for putting the webcam. What's that? She loves it?
She loves it.
Okay.
This is just a thing they do regularly now, apparently.
Yeah, and then just Jason Biggs dancing and his dad dancing behind him.
Have either of you seen Not Another Teen Movie?
Yes.
Okay, that's a better movie than this.
It is.
And it's
absolutely.
it's a better movie than this, and it kind of like, not rips on, but like it takes like the genre conventions and like I think does them in about as earnest a way as you can do, while also kind of making fun of them.
And also a very fun appearance by Shannon Elizabeth in that, right?
I believe so, yes, if I'm remembering correctly. But they do the whole foreign exchange student bit like from this, and it's funny in that movie.
Interesting. A funny version of this movie.
Well, she's where the bit is that she's always naked all the time, even at school.
That is funny. Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. We should have seen that instead of this.
Honestly, yes.
I'm coming out as negative on this. I just realized, but I gave it like 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I still think it's a good movie, but some of it just irks me, just the wrong way. And again, I'd rather see other teen sex comedies.
Well, and I'll at least also give it this much because, like, I think like American Pie and There's Something About Mary coming out around the same time was a big, like, created a huge influx of like raunchy comedies at like the turn of the new millennium. And I remember seeing so many of those, especially as like fucking Comedy Central in the middle of a Saturday afternoon rerun type things, like Tomcats, a movie no one remembers, like shit like that, right? That are just like trying to ape on like that formula. But I think the difference is with like Mary and American Pie, which are both movies that have like problematic elements to them now. I've seen them both fairly recently in the last like year or so, and they do at least have a better handle on like their characters, no matter how silly they kind of are. They at least kind of like respect the sort of internal logic of those characters. Like that's what I love about Jim's dad and why I think Levy works and why he was in all of these movies, including most of the direct-to-video sequels.
That's right.
Because Eugene Levy wanted to get that money. But I think he, like, the internal logic where he's just like, oh, I just realized my kid isn't, like, interested in sex. Now I'm having the talk, like, this late in the game. In, like, senior year of high school. Like, that's my favorite scene of the movie, I think, is when he's just, like, handing him the magazines. It's just like, now, this is a more exotic one. And stuff like that. Like, it's a joke that's actually based in the characters instead of just, like, somebody drank cum. I'm sorry, Siobhan, I know it's your favorite cast, but I
5 stars.
He does.
They play it out. They play it out for so long. Is he going to drink it? Is she going to drink it? And
oh my god, it's great.
Well, I mean, that's true suspense filmmaking. That's right. That's a good point. You know, it's right up there with like any Spielberg suspense.
And then he somehow realizes exactly what it is as soon as he drinks it. Somehow.
That's a good point. Like he knows the tastes. He's tasted it before.
Yeah. He's a.
Go ahead.
I wish I could think of the word. I can't.
All right.
But he eats his own cum, for sure.
Okay. Is it Snowball? Is that the term?
No, that's from Chasing Amy. Clerks. That's from Clerks, where you
describe it.
When you get a blowjob, right, and then you come in the person's mouth, and then they spit it back into your mouth. That's what that is.
He might do that.
Yeah.
You know, if he's not that flexible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
he might do that.
You're right. He could be one of those people.
One of those. Let's not shame him.
No,
I'm not.
Now, if anyone out there loves Snowball, we're not kink shaming.
Exactly. We're pro union and we're pro Snowball.
Pro Snowball.
Now, I do want to talk about Bottoms. I know it played at South by and it had some advanced screenings. Siobhan, I'm gonna guess you haven't seen it yet. Just a wild stab, just a wild guess. Brian, I don't think you've seen it yet. Bottoms,
I have not. No, unfortunately.
Thomas, maybe have you seen it?
No, because it really hasn't expanded wide yet. I'm planning on seeing that while I'm in Atlanta soon with my hosts for my vacation, but not yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's from the same director as Shiva Baby, also starring Rachel Sonnett. But yeah, I'm truly excited to see Bottoms. It does look like a laugh riot. I'm hoping for a good raunchy teen sex comedy.
I mean, if nothing else, just to keep the moment, like, to keep it basking in, like, Awa Derbe's moment.
Yes.
Like, this whole summer has been just, like, her doing so much different shit and having a big, like, I'll just shout Theater Camp. She's amazing.
Yes, I loved her in Theater
which
Camp.
Is comedy. Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah. The Bear. She's amazing on The Bear. I mean, Siobhan, I think you said earlier in another episode or a commentary, you saw all of season 2, right? You finished that?
I have one episode left.
Oh, that's right. You have one episode. Okay.
Are you talking about Io Itabiri?
Yes. We're talking about that.
She is a regular on my favorite podcast, Hollywood Handbook, and she is just a delight.
Oh, okay.
She's a very funny person.
Brian, any thoughts on Bottoms or The Bear or Aya Itabiri?
I love her. I think she's absolutely incredible. I have seen season 1 of The Bear, but I have not seen season 2 yet.
Brian, I may be the first to tell you this. Hopefully I am. I think you should watch The Bear season 2. I think you might like it.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. Yeah, but I am really excited for Bottoms. Shiva Baby was one of my favorite movies of whatever 2021. I believe that movie came out 2020.
I just saw that.
Something like that.
I loved it a lot.
Yeah, I loved it so much. It was one of my favorites of that year, and I love Rachel Sennott. I think she's just so funny and just so great. I'm really excited to see it, but yeah, hasn't expanded yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. So there you go. That is the teen sex raunchy comedy segment done. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's it. Now,
I'm remiss to say that I have not been able to find a term exactly for people who like eat their own semen.
Okay, you've been searching all this time.
The closest I've found is gokun, which doesn't necessarily mean eating your own. But
what does it mean?
Well, this is Wikipedia, so this is educational.
Verified.
Gokun is a Japanese term for sexual activity in which a person, usually a woman, consumes the semen of one or more men, often from some kind of container. Gokun can also refer to the sexual act of swallowing semen after performing fellatio or participating in a bukkake. The word gokun is onomatopoeic and translates roughly as the English word gulp, the sound made by swallow.
This really changes Dragon Ball Z for me.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
Gulp is the sound I just made as I'm considering cutting this part out of the episode.
Please don't.
We'll see.
This is the most interesting thing so far, Marcel. This has to stay in.
Okay. No, I mean, good point. I mean, the censor's going to be on your ass. The FCC just monitors this podcast so thoroughly.
Okay, so raunchy teen sex, done in the books. Racing movies, Days of Thunder.
Yes, Days of Thunder, racing.
Okay. Now we're talking about a good movie. All right, here with Days of Thunder. In honor of Gran Turismo, based on true story. At least one person has seen that movie, maybe two. Maybe not 3 or 4, but maybe 2 at least. Two of us have seen Gran Turismo. We'll talk about that in a bit, but Days of Thunder.
Based on true story, please.
Based on true story, sorry. Based on true story. Gran Turismo, based on true story. Based on true story, based on true story. Days of Thunder, Brian. You first. You said earlier you were going through the Tony Scott films.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to put it bluntly, because the people want to know. Where would you put Days of Thunder amongst Tony Scott's amazing filmography?
Oof, the hard questions, Marcelo.
Yeah, Siobhan and I are fans. Keep that in mind. I love the man.
Know who you're talking to here.
Yeah, exactly. So tread lightly is what I'm saying, Brian.
Oh no, believe me, I am a huge fan of him. I've become a huge fan of him over these weeks, months. I've been watching all his movies. I will say on my list, my ranked list, Days of Thunder is number 8. But it's just all of the movies that he's made that I think are really great in some way. I think that, you know, he is just such a great director, and Days of Thunder really like it shows that like so well, because just that opening, someone posted the opening like montage on Twitter the other day, and I just had to watch it just to feel something. Yeah, but I really love Days of Thunder. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. Maybe it's because of Gran Turismo, based on a true story from gamer to racer. But yeah, it rules. I mean, it's, Carrie Elwes and Michael Rooker are kind of my MVPs in this movie. I adore them, and they absolutely rule.
I should say this. The synopsis of Days of Thunder. A young racer, Cole Trickle, races cars. The end. That's all I need to know. It's Top Gun, but with cars. Okay? Some would say Top Gun, but better. I would say that. Siobhan, would you say that?
I do not like Top Gun.
Famously.
Of every Tony Scott movie I've seen, which is not all of them, he's kind of like David Lynch for me, where like I love him so much, I leave some of his movies out there as carrots on the stick to keep living. And I think, Top Gun's the only movie of his that I like straight up dislike. I don't like it at all. And then yes, Days of Thunder kind of follows all the same beats, like cocky young guy Tom Cruise. He's got a rival car driver guy, gets humbled at some point and has to kind of rebuild himself. I liked this a lot more. Is it my favorite Tony Scott movie? Absolutely not. But like, is it great? Yes. Like, I think it's super, super good. And like, one of my issues with Top Gun is like, I don't know if it's just like how he was filming at the time, because it was like that was the second movie, right, after The Hunger.
Yes, Hunger, 1983, Top Gun 86. Yeah,
something about Top Gun doesn't really sell the speed or the gravitas or whatever you want to say of these jets flying, and this doesn't have that problem with the cars. Like the action with the cars feels really kinetic and more akin to what I expect out of Tony Scott action stuff, if that makes sense to people.
It does. I want to go back to Brian. Brian, real quick, your favorite Tony Scott movie, to put you on the spot.
Oh, man. I will say, I have not watched all of them. I'm only missing one, which is his last movie, The Unstoppable, right? That's good. His... Yeah. Yeah, so pending that one, my favorite so far has been Crimson Tide, which I absolutely loved. I love a submarine movie, and man, it just absolutely rules. He directs the absolute hell out of it. Denzel and Gene Hackman have just great like back and forth, and like, a great thing about Tony Scott's movies I love is just seeing who pops up every now and then, like, Gandolfini's in Crimson Tide, and yeah, but that is probably my favorite. What about you guys?
Going to Siobhan. Siobhan, your favorite Tony Scott movies of the ones you've seen?
Okay, so I typically say Man on Fire, and like my Letterboxd list is going to stay that at number one. But I want to say I watched the ending of Deja Vu again really recently because somebody posted the clip on Twitter, and I started to tear up at it all over again, even though I have not seen the movie for like probably 5 years at this point. And like, I'm just gonna say Deja Vu because there's so much I love about that movie.
Good pick. Thomas, Tony Scott, Days of Thunder. Get into it.
Well, I'll just repeat what Siobhan said because it's also Man on Fire for me. I think that movie rules. But I also haven't seen all of the Scotts, mostly weirdly like the more recent ones I haven't seen. Aside from like taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, it's a lot of like Deja Vu I haven't seen and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Tony Scott's great. I think especially for just the way that whenever, at least he wants to, he doesn't always do this, but he has that talent for like every scene feels like it's at magic hour. and it's like so amazing that like a guy can capture that, especially on film, usually as he did in his earlier career in particular. And then Days of Thunder, I think, is a solid movie. I agree that I like it more than Top Gun. I don't hate Top Gun, but it definitely feels like sort of the movie that when people were criticizing Tony Scott about like just it's all style, no real substance in there, I would say that's more the case with Top Gun. I think the big thing, if nothing else, where I would say I prefer Days of Thunder is just the fact that I kind of love this, even with, obviously, you know, in real life, this relationship didn't go great, but this is the movie where Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise met each other, and I kind of love watching two people fall in love.
Yeah.
Like, while we're watching a movie.
That is
you feel that.
bonus.
And also, right, not to mention just the weird trilogy of movies that they're in, where it's like, you've got Days of Thunder, which is much more like kind of a lustful, like them realizing they're in love with each other. Then Far and Away is about trying to like find a home, and like these, because the two of them are like immigrants from Ireland who are going over and trying to like stake land. So it's about like basically a family trying to like start up with these like two people. And then Eyes Wide Shut is like, the marriage is falling apart. It's all gone. It's all fucking dead. It's so fascinating. But then everyone else, like, Brian mentioned about Cary Elwes is so amazing always, like in these movies, like in the American movies where like they make him a bad guy. Love it. Like this and Twister. Just like, oh, what a slimy piece of shit. Love him being a slimy piece of shit. But then Duvall's great. John C. Reilly very early in his career is very fun as part of the pit crew. It's and I agree as well that like the racing scenes are phenomenal, especially as someone who, living in Florida, I get invited many times to NASCAR events, and I never want to do it. It just seems so uninteresting to me as a concept. But watching the way Tony Scott films it, it's just like, fuck yeah, like he should have filmed every NASCAR event. That would have made me somewhat interested in fucking going.
Well, I love
Did you
this
say
movie.
yours?
No, yeah, hold on, I'm getting to it. God damn it, Siobhan. I love Days of Thunder. It's up there for me. I don't know where I'd put it. It's more on the high end on the list of my favorite Tony Scott movies.
Oh, wow.
And my favorite of the bunch, Man on Fire. No surprise at this point. It's yeah. Thomas said it, and I think Siobhan also said it. Brian, I think you're the.
I'm the outlier.
Yeah, you're outlier.
Brian's an original.
You hate Man on Fire.
Man on Fire is like, it is a solid number 3 behind Deja Vu and Crimson Tide. I love Man on Fire, but it is sort of like,
oh, you also put Deja Vu at number 2.
Yeah, I loved. Cool. I absolutely loved it. It also made me like, impacted me on such a personal level, and yeah, that movie's great. But
I would try. It's one of the best final lines ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love the Denzel collaborations are just incredible. But sorry, Marcelo, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm in complete agreement. I mean, speaking of Denzel, next week, Siobhan, we have to pick a Denzel movie to watch, or an Anton Fuqua movie to watch for the Equalizer 3.
Oh, that's going to be exciting, actually.
But I'm already pushing for Man on Fire. We should just see Man on Fire next week. Because
if nothing else, for the Dakota Fanning reunion.
Perfect.
With the two of them, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Is she still in that series? She was in the first one.
Wait, is she in the first Equalizer? I don't know.
I don't think she is. No, that was the whole thing about this, was that they were teaming up for the first time since Man on Fire.
Oh,
yeah, in the first one, it's Chloe Grace Moretz, right?
Is it? I'm remembering it as Dakota Fanning, but I'm probably fucking insane.
Looks like we need to watch The Equalizer 1 for the podcast next week, because somebody forgot.
I'll watch the first 2. I have never heard a word about Tony Scott's Spy Game. Is that any good?
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. That's one of the few I haven't seen of his. But I hear people love it.
That's like the one I've never heard anybody talk about.
It's okay. It's like it's one of those spy movies that's like, it's like 80% people talking. It's kind of interesting, and Redford and Pitt are great. Yeah, it's okay. It's very well directed. I will say that, but
just because Marcelo and I have this podcast about the film Southland Tales, directed by Richard Kelly. Have a Nice Apocalypse. Directed by Richard Kelly. Richard Kelly wrote a Tony Scott film called Domino.
Yes.
So we need you two to give us your thoughts on Domino, just for the record for that show.
Spill the beans. Thomas, you first.
I like Domino.
Watch yourself.
I don't love Domino.
I mean, like
the first time I saw it actually was in prep for being on Have a Nice Apocalypse, because I watched all the Richard Kelly movies. So.
Did we talk about it on the show?
Honestly. No, we didn't at all. But
oh shit, we're terrible hosts, Siobhan. We did a bad job.
No, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Tom.
You're great. Whatever.
Thomas, anyway. Come back on the show.
Brian, what about you, Domino?
I really loved Domino. Actually, I didn't really know anything about it going into it. Like I knew it had Keira Knightley, and she was like a bounty hunter, but I didn't know it was set in like modern day, and it's such a bizarre movie. I don't even know how to articulate my thoughts on it, other than I don't know. I loved it. I think it's the style of it is so interesting. Just the visual, that sort of like kind of MTV style, I've seen people call it, of, that Tony Scott has in the 2000s. I love Keira Knightley in it. I think she's great. I think Delroy Lindo is really great in it, who I absolutely love.
Yes.
It's very weird to me that Richard Kelly wrote this movie, who I love Richard Kelly, but I was just not...
I'd like to hear that.
But I do love it, but it is just such a bizarre movie. But also it's a movie that reminded me how happy I get whenever Tom Waits just shows up in a movie randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he rules.
I do also just want to shout out my favorite thing I remember about Domino. It's just the way Christopher Walken says Night of the Living Dead, where he just says Night of the Living Dead. That's like one of the top Walken weird like emphasis on different words kind of things.
All right, great. It's great to hear that you love the movie now, Thomas. Thanks. Okay, by the way, yes, The Equalizer stars Denzel Washington, Chloe Grace Moretz, and somebody who I forgot was in it, David Harbour. He's in The Equalizer.
Oh, right.
Speaking of David Harbour.
Oh, brilliant transition.
Actually, no, I do want to talk about Days of Thunder a little bit more. I love it so much. I want to tell the story. I did a Tom Cruise marathon here in Austin. The Alamo Draft House put it on. 5 mystery movies starring Tom Cruise. The day ended with Days of Thunder on 70mm. That remains, for me, the loudest movie I've seen in a theater. It was so fucking loud. And just playing it here on my 4K player, the 4K disc that came out a few years ago, playing it here, yeah, still goddamn loud, and I love it. It's such a brilliant racing movie. It's a compelling story. Sure, it's a little corny, a little cheesy, but at the end, it becomes so like mythical, and like you buy it because everybody's on fire. I think Tom Cruise gives a fantastic performance for a character called, what's his name? Cole Trickle. And then Nicole Kidman, I love her in this, and it's a shame what happened there. But
what happened?
Well,
I wasn't aware.
Let's not get into it. But yeah, I it's such an amazing movie, and it makes me think, God, Gran Turismo, based on true story, really is that bad. It is a bad movie. Let's get into it.
No.
Yeah. So here we go. Gran Turismo.
I had such high hopes.
I waited until now, this very moment.
He went from gamer to racer, Marcelo.
I waited until this very moment to reveal my thoughts to Siobhan. I said, hey, Siobhan, I'm going to reveal my thoughts on this movie the next episode. Now, here we are. I saw it last week because Sony, I guess, as a play to try to get the public interested in Gran Turismo, have been playing Gran Turismo, like these special sneak preview screenings for the last 3 weeks. It's like
to be fair, I also think it's just a weird thing where like that this movie was supposed to come out like the 9th, like it's supposed to come out like the 2nd week of August, and then they fucking pushed it back to like the 25th very late in the game. And so it just feels more like these guys were like given the DCP, and it's like, wait, you can't put it out in regular showings, but you can do advanced screenings?
Yeah.
Which I have a story about this. The weird, like, how unprepared people were for this shit.
The way it read to me was like, they can't have actors promoting it. They can't have David Harbour going out there and saying, like, this is my second favorite role next to Santa.
Oh, but that movie's great, by the way. I love that movie.
Like, so they can't have that. So they're like just trying to get this word of mouth campaign going for a movie that Marcelo says sucks. So probably not going to work.
Yeah, I've been telling people it sucks. Okay, so Siobhan, did you go out to see Gran Turismo?
Yes, I did, of course.
Oh! Now, Brian, did you go out to see Gran Turismo?
Based on a true story.
I have not. Based on a true story from Gamer to Racer. I was gonna go to one of the like advanced screenings that they had because they were doing one like every day.
Yeah. Again, it's
and then
ridiculous. I went because I was bored on a Saturday, and I'm like, what's playing? Gran Turismo? And then one day I go, nah. And then tomorrow, the next day, they're like, oh, here's another one. I go, okay, sure. They got me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I have played much of the Gran Turismo video game in the past few months because I like racing games, but
right, and you also want to become a part of, go from gamer to racer.
I would love to become
for that.
Yes. But I don't know. I'm kind of interested in this. It's Neil Blomkamp, but
when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm hoping I get recruited by the military.
Thomas, did you go out to see Gran Turismo based on true story from racer to gamer to racer?
Marcelo, I looked at my my AMC app and I said, "What's playing? What's out here?" And I saw a sneak preview screening of Gran Turismo based on a true story from Gamer to Racer, and I just had to go, and prep for this. I decided to go. I wanted to talk about the amazing experience I had seeing this movie.
Yes, here we go.
Yes, I booked the ticket for this, a week ago when we confirmed we were going to be doing this. And my ticket got canceled. And then I was like, okay. And then I looked up the AMC app again and saw it was playing just at a different theater. Like, it was in Theater 9 originally, and then they opened up to, it's the bigger Theater 24. Okay, I'm going to go over there to my local theater to watch this. And I get there around 6:45 for the 7 o'clock screening, have my popcorn and my drink in hand. And then I saw, Barbie's still playing in number 24. Okay, so I'll just wait out here by the bar. And there was also a couple, a dad and some kids who were also waiting to see Gran Turismo. And then 7 o'clock arrived, and 7:05 arrived, and then by 7:15 the theater was actually emptying out. I'm like, this is weirdly delayed. And then I saw one of the managers was talking to the family over there, and they were like, oh wait, this is odd. And I went over, and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, it's playing in Theater 9, not in Theater 24. So I missed the first 10 minutes or so of Gran Turismo as I had to shuffle over to the kiosk and they gave me a pass so I could get that for free or whatever. And then, so I apologize if I missed the amazing opening to Gran Turismo. And there's some crucial plot information that would be so vital to the ending of the film.
I can't believe you missed, that beginning of Gran Turismo based on true story from Gamer to Racer, a Sony Pictures production. Now, it's based on a true story.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing of this, actually.
They're not advertising it very well.
Hold on.
I don't think so.
It's based on the life of I'm looking up his name, Jan Mardenborough, a teenager retail employee that goes from gamer to racer, where he plays the game Gran Turismo, and the character of Orlando Bloom has this brilliant idea of going, hey, let's get these gamers into real life cars and have them race. Nissan cars for as a big PR stunt. It's basically just it's Sony PlayStation trying to just get the word Gran Turismo out there for everybody to hear. This is all just a big promotional stunt that they turn into another big promotional stunt. It's a Sony product. It's a 2-hour Sony commercial. That's what this is. I don't like it. I'm going to say this again. It's because it's just so tiresome. Watching Days of Thunder, I thought to myself, oh, this is the movie Gran Turismo is trying to be. Sorry, Gran Turismo based on a true story from Game Racer, a Sony Pictures production. But it just drops the ball. To me, Gran Turismo long title is just soulless. As Days of Thunder just has all that soul. That movie is beautiful compared to this flaccid 2-hour just nonsense that is trying to sell Gran Turismo, downloads. Anyway, Thomas, what'd you think?
While I do agree with you that it is a real piece of ghoulish Sony propaganda, I think it's pretty well made Sony propaganda myself. I think that's the thing is all my problems with this are on a script level. I do agree with you that it's presenting a lot of cliches. It's not necessarily, it's too long. It does not need to be 2 hours, 15 minutes long at all.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it's rather long. And also, I guess I'm not going to spoil it because it's not officially released yet. But no, of course not. But there's a particular plot point that is based on true events that are very skewed that I was confused by in the theater, and then I read up about it, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of... That's the ghoulish part of it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's extremely upsetting when you find out, what exactly the context of it is and how it's implemented in the movie. I'm not a fan of, necessarily. But at the same time, I think Blomkamp shoots it pretty well. I like especially how he kind of gets into the middle of the racing elements with he uses some GoPro style cameras, and I think they do a really great job of immersing you right in the middle of what's going on, and also just his visual touches that kind of show especially when there's a big scene where David Harbour is talking to the new recruits or whatever, and there's a lot of just odd shots that kind of keep you immersed. There's a shot that's having the camera right next to a still car's tire as he's giving this speech. It feels weirdly visually dynamic despite how kind of lame the scene is. And also I think the actors are all pretty solid, particularly Harbour and weirdly Orlando Bloom, where that kind of conflict that they have is it's cliche on the page, but I think they have a lot of interesting energy into it. Especially I think Harbour's the standout of this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. But Bloom especially works as just a weird marketing focused money grubbing piece of shit. I think is a good new avenue for him to play, because he can't quite be the heartthrob anymore. So just be the soulless corporate piece of shit. Basically be an OCP guy in a RoboCop movie. I think he has that kind of energy that really works for him in this.
I found it really interesting when I read this about the movie, and I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah.
How does Chappie work as one of the other racers? Is he good in the movie?
Well, I mean, as we know, Chappie knows the power of PS4, of PlayStation products, because he used a big tower of PS4s to transport a living soul into a robot body.
That's true.
And that was a spoiler Thomas didn't want to get into. Chappie does...
Right, because that is based on true events.
Chappie
right,
does
and
die.
It's kind of it was one of those things kind of like The Rock showing up at the end of Fast X. They put it out ahead of time for some weird reason.
Yeah.
But it is technically a spoiler.
So sorry, surprise, Chappie does show up. Listen, just I want to piggyback on that, real life thing that they shove into this movie, and I say shove.
Yeah.
The thing Thomas is dancing around. I'm not going to say it either. But it's on Wikipedia. You can read it. I mean, for this movie, there's already a controversy section on Wikipedia. So,
oh my god,
there you go.
Yeah.
But just it does bother me. But the fact that the movie is just so bland to me bothers me more than a person's death. No, but it is irreprehensible just how they treat that real life thing, the terrible thing that happened in real life, the way that they just use it as a plot point. That's for sure bothers me. And on top of that, It's a bland movie. But yes, it's no Days of Thunder. I mean, for as much praise as I want to give David Harbour for being an interesting character in this, he's basically just playing the Robert Duvall character in Days of Thunder, and Robert Duvall is much better, and it's a more layered performance and character in Days of Thunder. And Orlando Bloom is playing a Randy Quaid type character from Days of Thunder, and I'd rather see Randy Quaid play that role. So these are all analogs for characters I've seen before in better movies.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, look, I'm not expecting every movie to be a Tony Scott, like, big actioner that, like, really supersedes the genre or whatever. And I think this one doesn't quite do that. I don't think it's even trying to be specific like a Days of Thunder, because it feels a bit more, like, subdued, and it feels a bit more like it's trying to, obviously, have this whole gamer to racer aesthetic based on the title, obviously. They really give you what they promised. It's based on a true story. It's Gran Turismo and gamer to racer. But I think they do an interesting job of at least kind of, like, having that dichotomy presented in, like I said, I don't think it's, like, breaking new ground or anything, but I think it's decently, like, watchable for what it is. The way this movie would totally be like a Sunday TNT movie, where, like, I'm not paying attention to the whole time, but there's enough fun stuff to where I'd be like, I don't know, it's fun for, like, a lazy Sunday kind of movie for me. I don't love it, but, you know, I'm not as just devastating body blues as, like, a Marcelo necessarily.
The movie I think of when I think of that, your description of that, like a, Sunday TNT movie, is Need for Speed. That adaptation starring Aaron Paul.
That one. That's no good.
No, come on. I liked it.
Wait, really? Why didn't we watch that then? I would have watched that.
I know we should have. No. This
I could have given it a second chance. I don't know. I thought it was bad at the time.
Days of Thunder is great. I mean, of course we should have seen that. But Need for Speed, I think it's more interesting. It's telling a different story, obviously. But in terms of, like, video game adaptations, racing, movies, it's more entertaining in my book. Need for Speed is, but whatever.
Do you think either of your guys' viewing experience was that impacted by the racing helmets you had to wear while you watched it?
Yeah, and
I mean, I came in late, so I didn't get a racing helmet, so I think it worked out really well.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. You get to see those kids with theirs. That must have even sucked even worse.
I was very jealous, to be fair. Yes.
And we did get our own personal, life-size Chappie replicas that we could take home. Mine's sitting next to me right now. So thank you, Sony, for that. Gran Turismo, based on true story, from Gamer to Racer, a Sony Pictures production. Thomas, any last thoughts? I mean, I think I've said all I need to say. Okay, just real quick, I'll just say some positives. Yes, I did like David Harbour in it. Some of it is nice to look at. I am always rooting for Neil Blomkamp, but I don't know. This did not do it for me. I mean, Thomas, any other things you want to say about this as we get out of this segment?
Well, to, like, the Neil Blomkamp of it all, I think I do agree that I want, like, because that guy is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Given just, like, that journey from District 9 to Elysium to Chappie is, like, such a curious downfall for a filmmaker. But at the same time, you know what? He's done 2 movies since, like, the sort of him being able to do, like, big stuff. There was this, and then there was also Demonic, which is a movie not a lot of people have seen. I would not recommend it. That is literally one of the worst films I've seen this fucking decade. So my expectations were admittingly super low when I was going in to this one. But at the same time, I think, like, I would kind of like this sort of, like, mid-level kind of career for Blomkamp at this point, because I think he's a terrible writer and he's a great director. That's kind of the struggle, I think, with him. And this is the first movie he doesn't have a writing credit on. Admittingly, problems with this script, once again, that I very much agree with, particularly, like, one element of it. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind him doing more kind of, like, mid-budget kind of, like, fun programmer schlock like this and making it look a bit better and getting better performances out of the actors. If anything, I miss Charlton. You gotta team back up with Charlton, man.
Yeah,
you gotta
come
do it.
on. I love Charlton Copley. I saw his Ted Kaczynski movie from this past year, I think, and I don't think anybody else saw that. Ted K. I wanted Chateau Copley to show up as like the owner of like a rival racing company or something in this, but no.
Oh, I'd love it if he just fucking went up to this dude and called him a boyjik or some weird South African term like that. Fuck yeah.
But yeah, Blomkamp, please get back with.
He was in Beast too. He was fun in Beast. Remember that?
Beast?
Oh yeah, the Idris Elba like lion movie or whatever.
Oh, yeah, he is in that.
Yeah, thank you, Siobhan. Yes, I liked him in that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Chateau Copley. Please, don't get me started. I do want to rewatch that Oldboy remake, the Spike Lee film.
No, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
I do not have any memory of it from 10 years ago when I saw it, the remake. But I'm intrigued because I completely forgot Chateau Copley is the villain in that.
I don't think it's an affront to God like people like Thomas like to say it is. Like, I think it is something very fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I want to see it through that perspective.
I mean, it's interesting just in terms of like how far an American remake can kind of like tumble from the original. I think it's fascinating on that level.
Especially
and
what
also
you told
just
me.
being like,
sorry, Tommy, keep going.
Well, I mean, especially just with like a Spike Lee of it all. I know there's this whole thing about a 4-hour cut or whatever of Oldboy because we have to talk about all the time like we need a director's cut version of every movie. But
release the Ayer cut.
Right, of course, what we all want. We all want that. But at the same time, I just think on a fundamental level, it's such a weird attempt at trying to like be very close to the original movie, but also changing enough things. It's a fascinating, I think, failure personally, but
I'm intrigued by it. I want to see it again, but I'll report back on the show, absolutely, and somehow I'll force Siobhan to see it again too. All right. Now it's time for a game. It's the box office game. Now, I have 2 lists. All right, we're going to do 2 rounds of this. I have the top 10. Oh, let's go. Let's make this quick because we're zooming into 2 hours. So let's do top 5.
No, come on.
No, come on. We're doing a top 5.
Top 10. Let's go.
Top 10 would just take too long.
Here's how I propose it, Marcelo. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know what you're going to do. Here's how I propose it. Knockout game.
What do you mean a knock? No, that's not how this is going to work. Here, let me explain it, and then you can...
We're guessing a movie that's on the list. If anybody gets it wrong, they're out. You know what I mean?
No, but here.
Okay, whatever.
Here, listen.
I would have taken your top 10 and made it shorter, but you know what? My ideas aren't welcome here. It's fine.
Listen.
Marcelo runs the show, everybody.
Listen, Thomas Bryan.
I'm the co-host.
This happens on the show every time we record, and I have to cut out like 10 minutes of us arguing. How about the box office game in particular? No. Listen. My idea here is first list sports, the top 5 sports movies. Because I couldn't find like any other thing.
Or just do the other knockout game where we punch each other until somebody gets knocked out.
So the box office mojo top 5 domestic grossing films under the sports,
not racing
genre. Yeah, sports.
Okay.
And you'll see exactly why I pick sports as we go. So I'm going to go to each person. You're going to take a guess what's in the top 5. If you get the number 1,
top 5. Fuck
you
off.
If you get the number 1, you get 5 points. If you get the number 2, you get 4 points. If you get the number 3, you get 3 points. If you get the number 4, you get 2 points.
This is so much more complicated, dude.
We're going to do, let's go around 3 times to see if anybody can get any of these. All right? So here we go. Siobhan, you have the pleasure of going first. Guess what's in the top 5? Sports.
Catbird seat. Creed.
No, not under sports. What? Thomas.
A League of Their Own.
No. Brian, next.
Oh.
The Sandlot.
No. All right.
Rocky.
Hold on. Wait. I'm gonna now here's the guessing. Sorry. Now I'm gonna give you hints for each movie. Okay. The number 1 movie came
Rocky.
out Siobhan, for God's sakes. The number 1 movie came out in 2015. The number 2 movie, 1994. Number 3 movie, 2009. The number 4 movie, 2006. Number 5 movie, 2013. All right, next round.
Jesus Christ. Okay, none of those are Rocky.
Yeah, Siobhan.
2015, the #1 movie. So I'm going to think outside the box. What is sports?
What is sports?
Friday Night Lights?
No. All right, Thomas.
The Longest Yard?
No. Brian.
What's the one? The Brad Pitt Moneyball. Is that on there?
No. All right, here we go.
You know what? It's in the title. How about that $1 Million Baby?
Hold on. I'm gonna give out another round of hints.
Damn it.
Okay. And this'll. I mean, yeah, Siobhan is in a good place right here because I think this is gonna give it away. All right, I'm gonna give you the directors of each of these movies. All right. So here we go. The #1. Yes, the #1, James Wan. The #2, Robert Zemeckis. The #3, John Lee Hancock. The #4, John Lasseter and Joe Ranft. And the #5, Justin Lin. Siobhan?
They don't. Those are not sports movies. What are you
I'm
talking
following
about?
BoxOfficeMojo.com.
Sports movies?
Top 5. Yes. Box Office Mojo.
Shut the fuck up. None of those are sports. I love them to death. They're not. The first one you can call a sports movie, I guess, if you really want to. Furious 7?
You got 5 points. Good job, buddy. Thomas?
I'm gonna guess the mentioning Lasseter and Joe Ranft. I'm guessing that one's Cars.
Cars, yes, #4. You get 2 points.
That makes a little sense.
Brian.
An inspirational sports film in its own right.
They're all Cars, huh?
Oh no, is one of them The Blind Side?
Yes, that's #3.
Oh,
Good call.
oh no.
Good job. All right, so that's those are the top 5. Oh, sorry. Now I'm gonna.
Wait, what were the other ones that we didn't get?
Justin Lin.
move on.
Is that 5 or 6?
Hold on. Here are the top 5. So #1, Furious 7. #2, Forrest Gump. #3, The Blind Side.
Forrest Gump. Yeah, I guess he plays table tennis.
Because he plays football? What the fuck? Really?
He plays football, table tennis, and he runs. So hey.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry. #3, The Blind
Really,
Side.
the most sports film if you think about it. It's 3 sports.
#4, Cars. #5, Fast and Furious 6.
Fishing's a sport too.
All right, so that was the first list. So we did a bang up job there. Okay, next list. Just the Siobhan, you're gonna get a kick out of this. Top 5, Box Office Mojo, domestic box office. Genre keyword teenager.
Oh, okay.
Teenager.
Yeah. Okay. So again, as before, the #1 gets 5 points. So on. You know what? We're gonna mix it up. Thomas is gonna go first. Thomas, take a wild swing. Top 5 teenager films according to Box Office Mojo.
American Graffiti?
No. Let's go.
I bet adjusted for inflation it would be.
Maybe. Let's go reverse order. So now Siobhan.
Okay. Alita Battle Angel.
No. Okay. No. But good. I like that pick. Good pick. Brian, take a stab.
This may be cheating since we talked about it, but American Pie?
No, not in the top 5. Okay. All right, so the hints.
Teenager. This is so outside the box.
The hints. Here we go. And again, this is what Box Office Mojo marked as teenager, the genre keyword. Teenager.
Right, okay.
Okay. The #1 came out in... the #1 came out in 2010. The #2 came out...
Oh, I've got some guesses.
The #2 came out in 2009. The #3 came out in 2012. The #4 came out in 2011. The #5 came out in 2008.
I have less guesses now.
So, Thomas, swing.
Easy A?
Incorrect. Back to Siobhan. Guess?
I was thinking Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 3, I guess, would be in that era.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, Spider-Man 3.
Incorrect. All right, Brian?
Is it a Harry Potter one of them?
I need a full answer here.
Oh man, fuck. I'm gonna guess the fucking Goblet of Fire. I don't know.
Incorrect. Okay.
Damn.
Let's go to directors. Okay. The number one.
Alfonso Cuarón.
The number one was directed by David Slade. The number two was directed by Chris Weitz. The number three was directed by Bill Condon. The number four was directed by Bill Condon. The number five was directed by Catherine Hardwicke. Now, Thomas, guess?
That number one, I believe, would be Twilight Eclipse.
You are correct. All right, Siobhan. Oh, by the way, Thomas, you get 5 points.
Twilight New Moon.
So that's the number two, Siobhan. You get 4 points. Brian.
Oh man, I'm only because I know Bill Condon. Is one of them Beauty and the Beast for some reason? I don't know. I really drew a blank.
You should have followed the pattern.
Incorrect.
Oh damn.
Now here are the top 5 teenager films according to Box Office Mojo. Number 1, The Twilight Saga Eclipse. Number 2, The Twilight Saga New Moon. Number 3, The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. Number 4, The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. Number 5, Twilight.
I got a bone to pick. I think Spider-Man should be in there. But that is very funny.
All right, so I'm adding up the points. In third place, Brian, you have 3.
Yeah.
Second place, Thomas, you got 7. And first place, Siobhan, you got 9.
Thank you very much.
Well, wait. Can I put those 5 points I got earlier into this pool?
I didn't expect this.
No.
Yeah, you know what?
Bonus round.
Thomas, you've used those points wisely. You've jumped up to number 1. You took it home with 12
What
points.
a play! What a play!
What a twist.
Wow.
The true last minute. Like I just went over the finish line.
Wow.
I can't even be mad at it. I respect that so hard.
What an ending.
The hustle, man.
What an ending. Thomas, Bryan, it's been a pleasure. We've reached the end. Let's do plugs. Then we'll get out of here. Let me go to Bryan first. Bryan, plug away. Where can people listening find you online if you wish to be found?
Yeah, well, first off, of course, you can find Thomas and I's show, Cinema to the Letter. But you can find me still stuffering like everyone else on Twitter. My Twitter is at BRYANDRADE and then the number 3. And then you can also find my Letterboxd and stuff on there as well if you want to see what I'm watching. So, yeah.
Cool. Do that, folks. Thomas, what about you?
Well, I'm at Not the Who's Tommy on most places like Letterboxd, Twitter, Blue Sky, and such. And you can find Cinema to the Letter at the socials usually are Cinema number 2 Letter. And you can, of course, listen to us on the Talk Film Society general podcast feed. But you can also listen to our exclusive Patreon content at patreon.com/cinema number 2 letter, where, over the last several months, we've been recording bonus audio stuff, me and Brian, including a lot of stuff about the summer movies, audio reviews for, like from Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse all the way to The Last Voyage of the Demeter. We did multiple reviews over the we can also listen to we had a top 10 list we did last month, and we also are putting out a Shrek audio commentary, which we recorded, and is very interesting in its own right. And also, if you're listening to this and you're going to be in the Atlanta area over Labor Day weekend, I'm going to be at Dragon Con, where I'll be doing a bunch of panels, as I've been doing for the last several years. I'll be doing a Yellow Jackets panel, I'll be doing a 2023 in horror panel, I'll be doing a Good Omens 2 panel, a M. Night Shyamalan panel, one about classic horror movie censorship, and then another one about vampires in classic cinema. Most of those, you can find it on the Dragon Con app. You can just search my name, and you can add any of those to your schedule. Most of them will be in the Peachtree 1-2 at the Westin, though I should mention, the Good Omens one will be in a specific room. I wanted to just tell Marcelo at the Chastain 1-2 in the Westin.
Wow.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Siobhan?
Right. Did you ever do that? I don't know if you ever did that, Marcelo. Did you ever meet Jessica Chastain maybe on the Broadway stage?
Nope. Moving on. Siobhan?
No.
Plugs? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, you can check out my upcoming appearance on Cinema to the Letter.
Wow. Okay. Something you can discuss off
that's
mic.
about it, I think.
Yeah, a sneak peek for next season. one of our top guests.
Yeah, a really big get. You can follow me at Junkblader.
I mean, yeah, way better than any person who has previously been on the show, in particular.
100%.
That's for sure.
Just like blows the other person out of the water.
You can only go up from there. Yeah, and I like to plug my appearance on Cinema to the Letter, where I talked about Last Action Hero with Thomas and Bryan. Check that out.
I can't tell you what I'm going to talk about yet, but it's you're going to want to pull out you're going to want to look to the skies at night.
What? Okay.
That's my clue.
That could mean anything. And also we have a Patreon, patreon.com/talkfilmsociety for commentaries. Check out the thing we're going to release in September. That's all I'll say. All right. Oh, now, we don't need to decide now, Siobhan. I kind of feel bad for keeping our guests for 2 hours.
We're going to watch Equalizer 1 and 2.
Okay, fine. We'll watch Equalizer 1 and 2 next week. We'll figure it out. So, now it's time for our catchphrase, or just my catchphrase. I mean, Siobhan, do you have a catchphrase for this show?
Nope,
Okay,
I do not.
It's just
not
me.
at all.
Hey, see you at the movies. Nope, I never say that. All right, bye.
See you around, suckers.